South African Police Service. This is due to reasons ranging from the use of police by the Apartheid government to commit atrocities to general police brutality. Since the Marikana incident, public confidence in the police has taken a further beating. To what degree has the public trust in the police been eroded? To find out more, we are joined from our Pretoria studios by Dr Johan Burger, a senior researcher in the Governance, Crime and Justice Division at the Institute for Security Studies. Good morning, Johan.
Good morning.
Let's take a look at policing in South Africa since the Marikana incident. To what degree has the public trust in the police been eroded?
Well, I think what happened at Marikana was a huge shock to everybody, including the police, but certainly to the public who watched the CCTV footage of that incident. And if you consider for the moment that this was only one incident, and before and after that, there were a number of other incidents that were broadcast on our television sets. So everybody over a long period of time have been exposed to incidents of what is termed police brutality. So this isn't just the one incident. Of course, this is the worst. And certainly a huge tragedy, but I mean it's been happening for a while, and I think this is what's been informing public opinion of the police.
Has the police's response to mass protests changed, in your opinion, since Marikana?
It's difficult to say. If you take this back just a little, in 2011 when we had the Andries Tatane incident in Vicksburg, the police certainly acknowledged that they had a problem with the way in which they conducted themselves during public protests. And they had a number of discussions with institutions such as ours and others, and they reworked their national instruction on public order policing. But you may recall that just prior to the World Cup, we had the French coming over with the gendarmerie, assisting the police in terms of adapting some of their tactics and even some of the equipment in terms of how to handle public order policing situations. So clearly the police then started working towards changing some of their approaches, some of their tactics, and also the equipment. But I've been informed that the new national instruction has not yet been approved. So I think we can safely assume that the police haven't changed any of their tactics, any of their approaches to public order policing since Marikana.
2 days ago, police confiscated traditional weapons, what they called a clean-up operation in the Platinum Belt. Is this in any way an infringement of the mine workers' rights? Well,
this is something that's also difficult to say. In a way, the police are caught between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, we expect them to apply the law. And, there are various pieces of legislation applicable in this situation. Certainly, the latest edition is the amended law on dangerous weapons. And there have been, over a long period now, since Marikana, periodically people being killed on either side of the unions. There's been allegations by both sides, NUM and AMCU, and certainly dangerous weapons have been used in the process of attacking and killing people. So the police are expected to be doing something. So what do? They have to apply the law. So I think it's a difficult thing for the police to decide when and when not to apply the law. So I think what they are doing is applying the law. What we expect them to do is to do this within the boundaries of the law and to do this fairly and justly.
So being proactive but within the bounds of the law.
Absolutely.
Police Minister Nathi Ntetwa now visited the latest Marikana victims' families. He said police will stop at nothing to stabilize the situation in Marikana. Will this be seen as war talk?
Well, you know, in a way, it's just sometimes the terminology that is used by political and other leaders in the country that often inflames the situation a little more than it diffuses it. I think, you know, to say to stop at nothing is perhaps overstating the thing. I think what should rather be said by the minister is that the police will at all times apply the law to the situation, you know, irrespective of who is involved. I think that would be a more accurate and a more responsible way of reacting to the situation.
Dr. Burger, at the recent protests in Pretoria South, we saw heavily armed and bullet-vested police running away from stone-throwing demonstrators. What does this demonstrate?
Well, you know, it's difficult to comment on individual situations, but I can imagine that what happened over the last 2-3 years, you know, with the police being exposed to angry crowds and then become involved in situations that led to criminal charges against individual members, and as happened with Marikana, a commission of inquiry, and certainly some police officers still waiting to hear their fate, the possibility of being criminally prosecuted after the commission completed their findings, that psychologically this has had an impact on police officers, often choosing to rather refrain from doing anything that might expose them to possible action against them. And this is also a very dangerous development, and certainly something I think the police and the political leadership should be concerned about.
In your opinion, since the Jackie Salibi era as police commissioner, we've seen the numbers of police recruits increase, that drive that he had. Would you say this drive affects the quality of policing now?
It certainly does. I mean, the minister himself and the previous national commissioner have openly acknowledged that in the process of rapid expansion of the police in terms of its numbers, it was all about numbers, and very little concern was shown about the quality of recruits. So this is a problem that happened over almost a decade, and you can imagine the impact that has had on the quality of recruits in the police service, and most of those recruits are now serving police officers. But you also have to look at something else that happened that is often forgotten, and that is in 2006 when Jackie Salibi, as National Commissioner, decided to what he referred to as restructure the public order police units. In the process, halving their number, as well as the number of units attached to public order police units. That caused tremendous damage to the capability of the public order police units. They lost not only their members or half their members, but also very, very experienced members, including commanders of that unit. That also, in my view, had a huge detrimental impact on the quality of our public order police units.
Dr. Johan Burger, thank you very much for your time. In our Pretoria studios there, Dr. Johan Burger, Senior Researcher in the Governance, Crime and Justice Division at the Institute for Security Studies.